Hi there, it's Trisha, and I wanted to go over the trades for Tuesday, February 17th. And I used two setups using three charts with indicators before ever taking an entry. And you can check those out at www.easyeMinitrade.com. A very conservative way to trade the S&P E-mini, and it's not for everybody, but it's whatever works for you and of course you're profitable in. So everybody seemed to like the way that I recorded the last one, so I'm going to continue that way until somebody says that they can't see the charts. So anyway, I wanted to show you some things that set up yesterday and why you would or would not take them. At 9:36 we had, actually let me go back here. At 9:38 you had a scalp trade setting up, and a couple things that I didn't like about this and why you would not take this at 9:38. First of all, it's not 9:40, but I will take a trade if everything is in alignment and it's close to 9:40. But that's the one downfall right there. Then if you look at our longer tick chart, you can see this is the bar that is this setup is occurring. It's on this longer bar here on our longer tick chart. And that is not closed yet. That bar does not close until 9:39. So if you would have got into this trade, it would have been before this actually closed. And so you can see up until then we were above the moving average. So you might tend to wait until that bar closed. Also, our other indicator is not in proper alignment. You can see that typically with the colors that I'm using here, I would want to see the green below the purple in order for me to go short. So we don't have that either. Also, we do have our trend indicator above 20, but as I've mentioned before, that first half hour is a little bit skewed until the market settles down a little bit. So, just not a high odds trade in my opinion. So you would pass. Also, we really don't have divergence because this indicator is coming down, but so is price. Price is going the same direction as our indicator, so that's not divergence. Then at 9:46, we had another scalp trade setting up here, and this is the bar on our longer tick chart where it's setting up. So that's fine, it's below both moving averages, but our concern still is that this indicator is still not in correct alignment, meaning the lines are not in correct order for us to go short. So that that would concern me because you have discrepancies there. You don't have everything in alignment. So that would tend for me to think that it's going to not really go in any great direction. You might get a move, but it's not a high odds trade in my opinion. Also, this indicator, we don't have divergence on this either. We have price going sideways here, indicator going sideways here, and so without divergence, we want to see this indicator just coming down from the overbought area in order to go short, or at least not have crossed into oversold area. So at the time that you get this set up, it's already in oversold territory. So had it been up a little bit higher and not oversold yet, then that could be something that you could consider. But again, because of this here, you would more than likely pass. I would pass. So that's what I'm thinking there. I'm not going to take it because I always like that indicator to be in alignment. At least in the big picture. Even when you're taking a scalp, you still, if it were, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that might be another story. But, at this point, it's too early to say. It's too early to say that it's going to be going back and forth, back and forth. So I would pass on that trade. And our indicator at 9:46 was still over 20. So that would have worked. But again, not everything is in alignment, so we pass. Now, of course, if you took that trade, you would have made maybe 4 or 5 points on it. But as I always say, you just don't know until after the fact. What you have to remember at the time this trade occurs, this is all we are seeing. We don't know what's going to happen. This is all we're seeing. Right when that trade fires off. This is all the information we have. So with this information, do you know that it's going to go lower? No, you absolutely don't know that's going to go over. So looking over here, all we have is what's to the left to look at. And, you know, to me, that's not a very good indication of the market going lower. Not saying it couldn't, which obviously it did, because now, you know, now we get the hindsight. Now we can see that it would have worked. But, you know, that's not what we're trying to do, is guess on everything. If that's the case, then every time you get an indicator, a scalp indicator occurring on our squeeze here, you could just take it. You know, you don't know if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. But, you know, if that's your style of trading, you certainly can do that. I would still just make sure that our trend indicator was over 20 if I was just going to use that one indicator. But again, you need to go back and look at how many times when it fired off, it would not have gone. And you're going to find out that it's going to be many times that it would have fired off without using the other indicators, and you would have jumped on and had a loser. That's going to happen more often than not. So anyway, that's why I would not take that trade. Then at 10:17, we actually have a short setting up here. And we have our scalp indicator. Now, again, we have our scalp indicator here. We're not coming from divergence, and we're already oversold. So I pass. Again, if it were just coming from overbought and heading down, or heading down without divergence, and we haven't crossed oversold, I would consider taking that. But also you need to look here on our trend indicator where this arrow is. You know, we're just barely above 20, and you can see where we've come from. It's just been, you know, creeping down that whole time. So, you know, realistically at that point, I'm thinking, well, you know, it's probably going to go below. You don't know that because it could hit that 20 mark and bounce, but you don't know. But again, because of this here, I would pass. Also, we have, this is the bar where it's set up on, and this bar did not close until 10:18. So once again, price is above that moving average when this fires off. So you don't know that this bar is going to close below that moving average. So again, I pass. Also, this indicator is still not in alignment. You can see that our lines are still not in correct order for us to go short. So I would pass on that. You know, this is a day where everything just kind of went sideways. And you can definitely get setups that occur even in a sideways market, you know, but not on this day. Nothing set up that I would have taken on this day. Let's see. We had 3:30. We had a long scalp setting up. But you don't know, because this is at 3:30. This bar here where it's setting up, yeah, we crossed over both moving averages. That's great. But that bar has not closed yet. That bar did not close until 3:31. So, you know, if this were a real trending day, then you might opt to take that trade a little bit before it closes. But with all this junk to the left, you don't know that it's not going to, you know, get to the high of this bar here and just, you know, pull back and go back below the moving averages. So again, you really don't know what's going to happen on this bar at this point in time. So, you know, you would pass. Also, you know, this, if it were setting up and it were a good setup over here on this bar, you might consider taking this because our indicator had not come into overbought territory yet. So that would be okay. Even though we don't have divergence, we're moving higher and we're not in overbought yet. So if this were a different picture, then you could take that. But for me, I would pass because you don't know, like I said, what's going to happen on that bar. Also, our trend indicator, even though it is not above 20, it is heading higher. So if everything was in alignment, I would tend to take that trade just because it is heading higher and it's getting close to 20. So again, for me, I would have taken that trade if this over here on our longer tick chart gave us a different picture. Now, of course, I don't trade after 3:30, so personally, you know, I would have passed on that trade just because of the time. But what I'm saying is, other than the fact over here of this bar, this, you know, could have definitely been a trade that somebody could have taken. So I hope that helps seeing why I wouldn't take any trades. also, I think I want to show you something else. What I want to show you is the 60-minute chart from the 17th. You can see that everything is just going sideways here. So that, gives you an indication of what is going on that day. So again, that's why we didn't have any real direction on our other price charts. So anyway, those are the trade setups that I did not take, and hopefully that helps give an explanation as to why I would pass on certain things. So go to www.easyminitrade.com and check those out.